Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel. I'm here for ThermOWeb today, and I have foiled card backgrounds 3 ways. So in this video, I'm going to cover 3 different cards and 3 different card backgrounds. They're all foiled, but they're foiled in 3 different ways. So let's get started. In this first card panel, I took an embossing folder and embossed a piece of white cardstock, and now I'm going to take the ThermOWeb iCraft Deco Foil Adhesive pen, and I'm going to run the pen over the raised images of the embossed card panel. And you can see when I tilt it in the light, some parts are shiny. That's where the adhesive pen is hitting. It's hard to tell when you're working on it exactly where the adhesive is. So I suggest tilting it up in the light every so often just to make sure that you're getting really good coverage there. So I'm going to cover all the branches, all parts of the trees, anything that's raised. Now, you could send this through your laminator, or you could use your die cut machine to adhere the foil. I'm going to use my die cut machine for this one. So I'm going to take a piece of typing paper to make a little sandwich. That's just going to protect it from getting any ink or anything on it that would be on my die cut machine. I'm going to put the foil on top of the card panel, and I'm going to have the foil color facing me. So foil color side up, and then I'm going to make a sandwich like I would for any thin metal die. So I have 2 cutting plates and I have my platform, and I'm going to send this through my die cut machine just like I would if I were die cutting with it. And that pressure from the die cut machine is going to transfer the foil onto the places where the adhesive pen was placed. So when I peel it back, you can see that you have a beautiful embossed foiled card panel there. If I missed some spots, I can absolutely go back in with the pen, wait for it to dry, and run it through my die cut machine again. I like to use the pen though when I want a slightly more distressed image, and I think that that looks really great with this tree background. So the second way to create foiled backgrounds on cards is to use the iCraft Deco Foil Transfer Gel and a stencil. I have a 12 by 12 stencil here, and I'm going to lay it over a card panel that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And since my stencil is so much larger than my card panel, I'm not going to tape it down. I'm just going to hold it down. I'm going to use a palette knife, and I'm going to use a smooth, small application, very thin, because it will dry faster the thinner your application of the transfer gel is. So I'm going to really move it around and just make it nice and even on all places where the stencil is open on that card panel. And then once I'm done there, I'm going to peel this away, and you can see that there is a nice dimensional, beautiful stencil design. When it's dry, it's going to appear clear. You can see on that blue card panel there are still some white spots, so I'm not going to use that one right now. I'm going to make another sandwich. This is with typing paper again, only this time I'm going to put some cardstock behind it. That's just going to keep it nice and straight as it runs through the laminator and make sure everything is even and smooth. Once it's cool, I'm going to peel back the foil, and you can see that you get a beautiful both dimensional and foiled design. The last way to create a foiled background on cards is to use the new Gina foil mates. The foil mates have a design in toner that when you run through the laminator with your foils will come out foiled on any place that was black. So now let's put this first card together. This was the background that we created with an embossing folder and the adhesive pen. I'm going to take the ThermOWeb Memory Runner XL and put a little piece of fun foam behind this cardstock panel that I created by die cutting Gina cardstock, and I had stamped Happy Father's Day on it. I've also stamped and colored in some little critter images, and I'm going to use the Memory Runner XL to adhere a bunch of those as well. And once these images are all adhered with the Memory Runner XL, then I'm going to put the rest of this card together very simply by adhering the card panel that we've created here down to the card base. This is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card base, and I'm going to use that Memory Runner XL to glue everything together, and that was that card. This next one was the one that we created with the transfer gel. So again, I have a die cut piece of Gina cardstock that I have die cut with the ThermOWeb Gina dies. I've also die cut another piece from that blue card panel that I showed you, and I'm going to turn this into waves. So now I have a couple more of those little critters that I'm going to adhere down with the Memory Runner XL. And this fish, I'm going to actually use a ThermOWeb Zots. The 3D Zots are great for behind these little die cut colored in pieces because they're clear. The next thing I'm going to do is adhere some little googly eyes to the fish and to the crab. And to do that, I'm going to use the ThermOWeb Mixed Media Adhesive. I'm just going to put a tiny drop on the eye of the fish and then place my googly eye on top. And I'm going to do the same thing for the eyes of the crab. And once these dry, even if the adhesive kind of squishes out the side, it does dry clear and permanent. So no problem there, and it won't show if you use a little bit too much. Finally, I'm going to take the card panel and adhere it to the card base. Once again, it's a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 top folding note card. And I'm going to use the Memory Runner XL to finish off that card as well. For this last card that we made with the Gina K foil mates, I also die cut a sentiment out of Gina K cardstock, and I die cut it 4 times. Now the Gina K cardstock is nice heavyweight cardstock, so I probably could have gotten away with just 1 or 2, but I die cut this U sentiment 4 times, and I'm adhering all 4 of them together with the Mixed Media Adhesive. I again have a small panel that I die cut from Gina K cardstock using the Gina K dies, and now I'm going to adhere that sentiment onto the panel with the Mixed Media Adhesive. And finally, I decided it needed one more thing, so I grabbed some Gina K ribbon and I'm just going to tie a little knot. Since this card is probably for Father's Day, I don't want to do a bow, but I felt like it just needed a little something extra there. So I'm going to fold the ribbon and cut away from my finger, and that will create those nice little tails. Again, I'm just going to fold it in half and cut away from the knot, and there you go. I have a final card created with a foiled background. So that was 3 different cards with foiled backgrounds 3 different ways. I want to thank you so much for stopping by today, and have a great day.